Hiya! Welcome to watching another review on VideoGaming Father's channel. This time I will focus on 2D side-scrolling action platformer called Broforce. Is there any thrilling story in the style of 80s action movies that the game is heavily inspired by? Is it just about the never-ending action, or does it make you think a bit either? Will you find there many familiar characters that you can play for? Is the difficulty set high that even John Rambo would scream in pain, or can it be played by normal players too? Won't you be struggling with the game controls? Is there any local multiplayer in the game? Won't you be disgusted by the game audiovisuals? Just bear with me and you will find out everything you need to decide whether Broforce is the right game for you or not. Let's start with the story. Do you remember action movies from the 80s? Let's say Commando, Rambo or Robocop. I'm sure that you will find many positives in those movies, but the story? Nah, I don't think so. Here is a good guy whose life was somehow spoiled by the bad guys, and now he is looking for revenge. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? And it's almost the same with the story in Broforce. You lead a special military unit consisting of many famous action heroes. I will get to the details about them a little bit later, and your task is to eliminate the terrorist threats and dictatorships in many God-forgotten places on Earth. But honestly, I guess there are not many people playing action shooters because of the story. Anyway, if you have grown up on action movies from the 80s and early 90s, you will find there many allusions to them. The more you have seen, the more you will find and more fun you will have. So I cannot really say that I am dissatisfied with Broforce when it comes to the story. But now let's take a closer look at the gameplay. In its core, Broforce is a typical run-and-gun type of game. Your hero is brought to the environment full of armed-to-teeth enemies, and his task is simple: to shove through them to the other end where you are picked up by the helicopter. Mission accomplished. Can it even be fun long enough? Yeah, you can bet. Why is it so? Well, the first thing is that unlike in many other similar games, you do not play for just one character. You do not select the character before the mission either. How is it done then? Well, you start with Rambo-like character and your first mission is to save prisoners of war in a country called Vietnam. The smarter ones will recognize Vietnam. So, your character is airdropped for the first mission, and after the first few steps, he finds a cage with the first prisoner. He breaks the cage by shooting at it, and tada! You have just set another hero free. Bromando. The similarity to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the movie Commando is definitely not unfounded. And to your surprise, you will immediately start to play for Bromando. And he's got a really big gun, the rocket launcher. So you proceed to the next cage. Kill the first enemies, which are mostly some anonymous thugs, like in most action movies, and free another both. Which is the Rambo-like character that you started the mission with. Okay, it doesn't make much sense, but more important is that you now have 3 lives. Every time you start with just 1 life, so if you are killed before you set your first companion free, the mission fails. So sometimes you can see mission failed after 5 seconds from the beginning. But do not worry, the game is not so difficult. But we will get to this later yet. Back to the characters now. You will unlock such characters as Bra Baracus, B.A. Baracus from TV series A-Team, Brodel Walker, famous Walker Texas Ranger played by Chuck Norris, Matt Brower, well-known MacGyver, or Braid, which is the famous vampire Blade played by Wesley Snipes. And there are plenty of other ones. The good thing is that everybody has a different weapon like machine gun, rocket launcher, shotgun or dynamite, and different special abilities like grenade, stun grenades, airstrike and so on, so the gameplay for each character is different and you never know which one will be selected for you. This makes the gameplay really variable and also entertaining as you actually play for real action movie heroes. Good job! However, only variable and funny characters would not be enough to keep your attention for a long time. The next thing is level design. In the beginning I was thinking, what kind of level design is that? Vertically designed environment with a lot of ground that you can dig through by using your weapons is good for games like Boulder Dash or Steam War Dig, but for the action shooter, really? But then I found out that it's actually a very good idea because you can use, and you will need to use, the environment strategically. There are tons of enemies in each level and their fire range is usually longer than yours, so quite often you will need to undermine them or to use the environment some other way to successfully eliminate them before you get shot. Despite you controlling super badass guys, they can be killed by one well-aimed shot, so you need to be super careful. Luckily, the environment and level design helps you quite a lot. There are many explosive battles that can unleash the doom in enemies' camp. And Broforce is a festival of explosions, just like good old action movies. So you will be using the environment against your enemies, maybe even more than your weapons. As I said before, the levels are very vertical, so you will be jumping between platforms, climbing the ladders or even walls by using your super knife, and your goal will be to get spotted by the enemies only at the moment where they cannot do much to save their pathetic lives. And a totally destructible environment along with explosive objects will help you a lot with it. I really appreciate that it's just not another run-and-gun game, where you just run forward with a finger on the trigger. Thumb up again. Who will you be fighting with? As I said before, most of the times, you are fighting against the anonymous thugs with rifles and machine guns that can be eliminated by just one shot. Then there are big guys with huge machine guns that need to be hit several times to be sent by the direct express to hell. There are also super fast dogs that you cannot let get too close, and also suicidal guys with belts of explosives on their bodies that you cannot get close to either. From time to time, you will be fighting against bosses like big artillery shooting the suicidal guys at you, or armed-to-teeth helicopter. It brings more variability to the game, but I have not found the bosses too challenging. The truth is that the enemies could be more variable, but a bunch of anonymous tags that represent the saying quantity over quality is the tradition of good old action movies. Let's take a look at game difficulty and controls. Broforce is for sure a challenging yet not frustrating game. As I said before, your heroes can get killed by just one successful shot or dog's bite. There are plenty of bad guys in each level, but on the other hand, the levels are not too long. There are several checkpoints, stylishly marked by hoisting the US flag. In each of them, you have unlimited ammo. There are many ways how to send your enemies to the eternity, and you have several lives represented by saved heroes to finish the level. So the game is challenging but not frustrating, and by trial and error you will learn how to succeed in each level. Which is actually not boring thanks to the fact that you never know which of your heroes you will be playing for. The controls are very simple, just movement keys, one key for jump, one for fire, and one for using a special ability. I have played Broforce on Xbox controller and the controls were responsive and accurate enough, so I have no complaints about it. As for the game audiovisuals, the game has classic retro-style pixel art graphics that suits the game. Someone might complain that it could be smoother or more detailed but every hero, enemy or object in the game is easily recognizable and effects of explosions or blood look good even in this presentation. The graphics just highlight the retro atmosphere of the game. And same for the sounds of weapons, explosions and the badass military voice that introduces the mission, new heroes or bosses or say, mission failed. The game music is not very distinctive except for rock tones when you successfully liberate the area. In general, audiovisuals help to build a funny retro atmosphere of the game. And let's get to the final verdict. As I was almost not critical in this review, it's quite clear that I will not be too critical even at its end. What I like about the game: funny retro atmosphere, wide variety of heroes with strong personalities and various skills and weapons, level design that makes you not only shoot but also thinking a bit, destructible and interactive environment, reasonable difficulty, responsive controls, stylish audiovisuals, and the presence of local multiplayer. There are really not many things that I dislike. Maybe the absence of dubbing, as I think that some one-liners would make the game atmosphere even better, more distinctive music in 80s style, and higher variability of enemies. Broforce cost €14 on Steam, and the game fully deserves this price tag for what it offers. And if you find it discounted, just take it immediately. Is it suitable for family playing? Well, there is a local multiplayer, so if you get over the blood and violent nature of the game, you can play it with 10-plus-year-old kids. After all, thanks to the pixel graphics and sense of humor, it's not such a drastic game. Broforce is a typical from fans for fans type of game, and as I said before, if you have grown up on action movies and TV series from 80s, you will enjoy it even more, as you will find there many pop culture allusions. I have enjoyed playing Broforce, and thus I'm giving the game thumbs up, and VideoGaming Father's index 9 out of 10. I recommend it. Thank you for watching my video review. Please do not forget to give it a thumb up if you like it, and also to subscribe to my VideoGaming Father's channel to be notified about my future reviews. See you!